Hi everybody and welcome back to Rebellious Menstruation. This is seriously about the 7th time I have tried to film this video. Essentially this kind of Q&A that was raised was about period poverty. So I'm just going to run over a few things with you. Period poverty is a very serious reality for a significant amount of women across the world. Between 40 and 60 million of women, depending on what stats you believe, and girls are affected by period poverty. This actually has severe consequences worldwide and severe implications worldwide for women, girls, children, and the greater worldwide economy as well. So it's not just limited to women and girls. A lot of period poverty is associated with essentially worldwide stigmas and taboos, which are generally culturally entrenched in superstitions and also in religious narratives that associate menstruation with being unclean or contaminated. So it's this kind of suspicious belief that menstruating, instead of associating it with giving it life, they associate it with being dirty or unclean. Often the cost of sanitary items are simply too expensive. This is compounded by the fact that girls with their period who can't afford period products then miss school, leading to a lack of education and job opportunities later in life, which then obviously is cyclic in nature, that their daughters will miss school and will be not able to access better education and job opportunities. Worldwide, girls miss 142 days more a year than men due to menstruation. In Malawi, sanitary items are the cost of an average day's wage. So one packet of sanitary items is an average day's wage. And of course an average is an aggregate of across all the information. So a lot of people would earn less than that. And so it would just price pads completely out of the market. And in Kenya, 2/3 of women and girls cannot afford them at all. In India, there's an estimated 1 in 5 dropout of school, that's nationally, and in some provinces like Maharashtra, I hope I pronounced that even remotely correctly, I doubt it though, I apologise for that, that number is closer to 4 in 5. So the consequence of this is that more women are uneducated, undereducated, and therefore are unable to educate their own daughters when they drop out. Essentially, when a woman finishes secondary school, when a girl goes through both primary and secondary school, she is less likely to experience child marriage, domestic violence, and she is more likely to be able to prevent long-term health complications. Educated women are also more likely to have fewer and healthier children who will be more likely to survive to adulthood. So this means that they will also become more educated and will be more likely to raise themselves out of poverty. In America, the UK, and where I am in Australia, there is menstrual poverty here as well. And in an example of this, most people live either at or below the poverty line. So it means that if you have a female adult in the house and 1 or 2 female daughters in the house, there is quite often a choice between buying menstrual products or buying food, paying rent. So these are actually for the people who are in houses. These aren't for the homeless. So none of these stats that I've brought up so far are dealing with the homeless issue, which is then another addition on top of everything. So in October 2015, in Coolgardie in Western Australia, a woman was fined $500 by police for stealing a $6.45 packet of tampons from a service station. So this is further punishing low-income and homeless women in their access to either food or sanitary products. And by treating it as non-essential, this is the type of thing that was raised. When WA police were called out on this in various media outlets, their attitude was then, don't steal. We don't care, don't steal. which, you know, is not looking at the larger social dynamic of why a packet of pads was stolen. So the other lack of products also has other consequences, in the fact that a girl may be using one tampon or pad during the entire day because that's all she has, and if you know that's if she has access at all to a reusable product. And on top of that, if there's no products available, they may use alternatives like socks, dish rags, newspapers, and so this kind of is a lack of hygiene, promotes a lack of hygiene, and therefore this can lead to very serious health risks and implications, including infections, UTIs, toxic shock syndrome, and cervical cancer. So that's so you can see with the two diversive things with period poverty is that it has very serious and severe health implications for women and educational implications for women, which means the better that we solve this, the more that we're able to solve other health issues as well and other education issues. So part of the, you know, kind of, well, in addition to the issues that I've already mentioned, part of the stigma and superstition also means that menstrual products are considered a luxury. I live in Australia, and it's only the 1st of January 2019 that the GST, the 10% GST on menstrual products were taken off. So just as an example, what was GST free are things like condoms and Viagra, which just shows that a man's right to sex is more important than a woman's right to hygiene. This campaign took 18 years, and it was because obviously, you know, the Australian government is particularly representation of most Western governments in the sense that they are predominantly male. And the reason that tampon tax is controversial is men don't understand how menstruation works. It is literally a sexist tax. Because condoms and Viagra are not essential items. You can choose whether to have sex or not. You cannot choose whether to menstruate or not. The incontinence aids are also GST free as well, because that's treated like a medical issue. So this was approximately $30 million in GST that the government has been complaining has been lost from the government. But also another thing that's actually not taxed or not GST because it's considered an essential item and not a luxury item is men's shaving, but not women's. So these types of sexist laws may put affordability out of reach for low-income and homeless people in countries like Australia, the UK and the US. So especially when you have choices of you have children and you need to pay also food, rent, utilities and transport. That is just life issues. That is not without any other issues arising like domestic violence, lack of employment, homelessness, death of a parent and or partner and or child. In developing nations, access to job and finances also present a large barrier, as well as all the same issues that present in developed nations, such as the ones that I just mentioned: domestic violence, homelessness, death of parents, partners, and the loss of housing situation with the loss of those partners. The other issue is there's obviously quite often a debate in between single-use products like these and reusable products like this is if you are low income, living in insecure housing or homeless, you still don't, the same barriers to hygiene still exist, so you still need access to bathroom facilities, health, hygiene and the ability to wash. So you'd still need access to laundry facilities, you'd need access to be able to purchase laundry detergent at the very least, if not bleaching concerns, access to a laundromat or washing machine. So these are the type of accessibility problems that comes along with suggesting reusable products. But of course, the same kind of health and hygiene issues still apply to single-use products, is that you still need to be able to wash your hands and clean up yourself and your hands if you've been sleeping rough. Otherwise you still cause all of the other things that I suggested before, is health and hygiene and cleanliness issues. Financial estimates vary on how much menstruation will cost over a lifetime. They vary from about $4,800 a lifetime to about $35,000 a lifetime. The reason why these vary so much is that all of the stats I attempted to find was a male came up with 4,800, stating that that is approximately $11 a period per cycle, because you only need one packet. So 1 packet of tampons and 1 packet of pads. The estimates of 35,000 come from a UK kind of self-answered survey where women included pain relief, DVDs, new underwear, kind of, I guess, comfort chocolate and food in their estimates, because they said that they were essential for their period. So the truth is probably a little bit more in between. I've read quite a consistent number of about 28,000 per year. Me personally used to spend between $36 and $42 per period, and that was not including any luxury items. So that did not include pain relief, that did not include food, magnesium, because I take magnesium to help with muscle cramps. So that didn't include, so my $36 to $40 was literally only on menstrual products like tampons and pads when I used disposables. If you're able, there are various organisations that assist with period poverty. You'll probably find one local to you as well. There are several ways to assist. In Australia, there's a Share the Dignity campaign. They run 2 drives a year, one in, I think, February to March, and one in October, November. February, March is the collection and donation of single-use products, and the October, November one is a collection of bags. I will link their website down below. I supported their campaigns this year. I will support their campaigns next year. And if you don't have time, accessibility, or are able to build a bag, or get to a collection or donation point, you can. They have partnered with the Chemist Warehouse, which is like a pharmacy chain in Australia, and you can actually online or in person at a Chemist Warehouse purchase a Share the Dignity bag during their campaign in November. And you can get their updates from the website, which I'll link below, but you can actually and then Chemist Warehouse will actually build the bag for you and donate it to them for you. I think it's about $60. So if you are, financially viable enough to be able to do that, please do. There is also one called the Red Box Project that tends to be around the world. So there are various ones that are set up across the UK and the US. So, and I think I've seen some Red Box projects in Ireland as well. So you can probably find whichever one's closest to you. And there's also the Ruby Cup and Femme International. So for those of you who don't know or who haven't watched my review on the Ruby Cup works on the buy one, donate one model. So if you buy one menstrual cup, another one is donated via Femme International to girls in Kenya. And so just be aware that there are various places around you to be able to do this. And if all else fails, you can always donate sanitary items to your local women's homeless shelter. Any further questions, ask below or contact me below. Outside of that, enjoy the rest of your day, and I hope you learned something. Bye.